welcome. Uh, Here's the lights. Okay. Welcome back to Ghosting with Anya. I'm your host, Anya Smith, also the author of Anya's Ghost Stories Volume 1 and Volume 2, The Return of the Dead. So, I normally would, do this podcast in the evening. If you guys want me to do it in the evening. Oh, hey, Chris. Yes, I just got it on. So, anyway, the reason why I'm doing this now is because maybe I thought it would be cool. Um, Before we do the story, I just want to say thank you guys for subscribing to Ghosting with Anya on YouTube channel. So it's very supportive. I just want to say thank you guys, and we have a new story for you all. Well, I've got a new story. So it's called The Window at the Top of the Stairs. I hope you guys like it. And it's a really good story. It's like bone chilling, get your blood boiling. So today was a great day, just hanging out with my friend. His name is Fearless. If you like his podcast, it's called Ask Fearless. If you guys like listening to his story about books or whatever, it's called Read with Fearless as well. So he's got another one. But recently lately he's been doing his other podcast with a friend of his. It's kind of like a friend of mine too. His name is Brian. So Brian is a cool guy, and he helped Fearless and myself with encouraging us to get hooked up with all the podcasts. So this is what I'm doing now. I love doing this because it gives me more inspiration and encouragement. So if you guys are interested with my episode, let me know in the comments down below. Yes, I'm here at home, getting ready to do this episode because I've been helping friend with his stuff. So like cleaning his toilet, like the entrance toilet, getting his mail, putting the dumpsters back where they belong. So it's kind of like being a maid, but I'm not really being a maid. I'm just helping him out because his other cleaners literally just got fired because he wasn't satisfied with them, the way they cleaned his house. Also, I just got tea going, so we can drink some tea and do some episodes, like podcast and stuff. Hope you guys like it. It's really good episodes. We don't have to hang out. We can just, listen to ghost stories, drinking tea, talk about other paranormal stuff. So I hope you guys are having a great day. It's a little bit, it's a bit like 7 long paragraph. So I hope you guys like it. I want to stay to my limit with this story. So I just want to go to with 45 minutes. I hope you guys are going straight to YouTube. So let's get started. Just sit back, relax. Please click like, share, and subscribe. And my husband said we should do cooking show. Maybe. Well, maybe I'll just, I don't know, record ourselves cooking dinner or whatever. One of us has the phone with the recorder, and one of us is cooking dinner. Me, I'll probably, I don't know, put it on YouTube. Let's get started on the story. But yeah, get something to drink, eat, get under the covers. Please click like, share, and subscribe, and let's get started on this story. The Window at the Top of the Stairs, Season 5, Episode 117. When Anya was younger, she used to visit a relative who lived in a narrow two-story house at the edge of a quiet neighborhood. The house was old in the way that made every board speak. When walked on, and the wallpaper seemed to trap shadows even during the day. At the top of there was a small window that looked out over the backyard. It was not remarkable, except for the fact that Anya hated it for reasons she could never explain. In daylight, it showed only a patch of grass, part of a fence, and a leaning tree that looked half dead year round, but at night, that same window felt different, as if it were not showing the yard at all, but something waiting just beyond it. Even as a child, she avoided going upstairs alone after dark because of that window. This is the creepiest thing. I am reading the story. When I was a little girl, I never had anything like this. So I am trying to avoid that because when I was a little kid, I didn't actually have paranormal experience at all. So I wish I had a lot of experience when I was younger, but never happened. So perhaps maybe I could have done it many years ago, but investigations of the house, but that never happened. So I was very skeptical as a little weird kid, but never in a million years I have ever thought about having paranormal stuff going on in my own house. Because when I was a child, I never had anything like that until I became full grown adult. That's when it all started. So let's continue on the story because I'm trying to go with my limit here, like 45 minutes. And I'll be signing off before my husband does. One winter evening, a storm rolled through the area and knocked out the power. The adults lit candles downstairs and talked in low voices while the house groaned. Under the wind, Anya had left her sweater in the upstairs guest room and was told to go get it before the night turned and any colder. She argued at first, saying she did not want to go alone, but no one took her fear seriously. They smiled the way adults do when they think a child is being dramatic. So she took a candle and climbed the stairs as slowly as she could, feeling the flame shake with each step. By the time she reached the top landing, the little window was already waiting. Wow. I wish I had a stand so I can actually literally scroll towards up or down, whatever. So that way I could, read the story without holding my cell phone. Um, yeah. Or I can literally just go like this. That might be perfect. I don't really know. Maybe. Or I can just keep it like that. So, um, sorry, this thing just keeps acting strange. I don't know why, but I'll have to try again. So let's go. Yeah. Okay, let's go to number 117th, because I'm still reading that story. Sorry about that, guys. It's a little weird, but Okay, here we are. Okay, yep. Let's see where I was left off. Right here. Yeah, like right here. Outside the yard looked wrong. The tree was bent too far. The fence seemed farther away than it should have been, and the darkness beyond the glass had a depth that made the night feel larger than the world. Anya kept telling herself not to look directly out the window, but she did anyway. Because fear pulls as hard as curiosity at first. She saw nothing but movement from the storm. Then lightning flashed bright and sudden, and for one clean second she saw a person standing in the yard facing the house. The figure did not move, did not flinch, and did not seem affected by the rain. It simply stood there, black against the white flash, with its head tilted slightly upward toward the window. This is the weirdest story I am reading, so bear with me, guys. I wish I had that experience when I was little, but never had that. So, anyway, my mother's very skeptical, so I used to be like that too when I was little, but never actually happened. So it is what let's just, be where we are with the story. Anyway, it's kind of like me doing this, having this weird dramatic um paranormal activity going on in my own house, but never actually happened when I was growing up because I didn't know what paranormal would look like. It sounded, I never literally see anything because I didn't have any paranormal experience, even as a little kid. So I hope you guys are having, very serious reaction to this. If you guys have any opinion about it, if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comment below because I'd love to see your opinions right here on YouTube. So anyway, just let me know what you think and how does it make you guys feel about it. Have you guys have ever experienced anything like this, like any paranormal activity going on your house? just let me know right here in the comment, like right here on YouTube. Just leave me a comment down below. Let's continue on this story. It's a bit long, but I just stay to my limit, 45 minutes, not longer than that. Anya dropped the candle and ran downstairs screaming. The adults rushed to her, annoyed, before they were concerned, assuming she had frightened herself, overshadowed or under. Through tears, she insisted someone who's standing in the yard looking in through the upstairs window. Her uncle grabbed a flashlight and went outside immediately, sweeping the beam across the fence, the tree, and the muddy grass. There was no one out there, no footprints, no broken gate, no sign that any person crossed the yard in the storm. Everyone told her she had a trick of lightning upstairs for the rest of the night. That's even a doozy one. So it's kind of like that, but I've never ever had this happen to me. So it's a little strange. So now is the time to tell me this when you were a little kid. I never had anything like this. So, well, I always wanted to be a ghost hunter, but I never had any ideas how to start this ghost hunting career thing and a little hobby maybe, but I just never had this kind of problem. So, but now that I'm an adult, and when I had my experience in my late 20s to early 30s, I can believe it now. And I literally have the power to see something that can never be explained. I can feel the spirit's presence. Like literally, because I didn't have that kind of power until 2017. So, have any of you had anything like this when you were like a lot younger? So, we'll be going to the questions right after this story. So, let's continue. Years later, when Anya was old enough to think more critically, she returned to the house for a holiday visit. By then, the upstairs guest room had been turned into storage, and the house itself felt smaller than she remembered. She almost laughed at her old fear until she climbed the staircase, and saw the window again. It was still there, still narrow, still plain, and yet something in her stomach tightened the moment she reached the landing. Wanting to prove to herself that memory had exaggerated everything, she walked right up to the grass and looked outside. The backyard was quiet, under a pale afternoon sky. Then she noticed faint scratches on the outside of the window pane. Not random marks, but curved lines, all clustered at human eye level. I really wish that I seen anything like this in my own eyes, but I guess I have to wait till I go to the Hummel Park and find out what's really going on. So, when the weather's really warm and birds are chirping, no clouds coming through with grayness. We will go back to that Hummel Park and do some investigations. But I should warn you that the internet down there is not very good. So I'll have to record this and then put it on YouTube, like right here on YouTube. So let's continue. But yes, whenever I go to that park, I can feel the presence of a spirit. Any spirit, but I could still feel it. So but happens all the time. So but yes. Anyway, let's continue on. The story is almost done, so I have about quite a few minutes left. That night, she asked her relative whether anyone had ever had trouble with trespassers or vandals in the yard. The answer came too quickly. Her relative said no, then immediately changed the subject, which made Anya pay closer attention. Later, another family member admitted that years earlier, long before Anya had been born, a man had died in that yard. After suffering a fall near the tree, some said he had been drunk. Others said he had been trying to look into the house, and a few believed he had been confused and lost. What everyone agreed on was that he had been found on his back in the morning, eyes open, staring toward the upstairs window. No one liked talking about it because the story never sat right with the house. Before leaving the next day, Anya stood once more at the top of the stairs. The window reflected part of the hallway behind her, along with the silver of the room, where old boxes had been stacked for a moment. She thought she was finally free of the childhood fear that had followed her for years. Then she realized the reflection in the glass showed someone standing behind her on the landing. When she turned, no one was there, but when she looked back at the window, the reflection was gone, and a single flash line had appeared across the outside of the pane, as though something wet and cold had just traced a finger through the dust. This is the weirdest shit, okay? It may feel like it's my story, but it's not actually my story. The AI ChatGPT is probably thinking it is, but it's not actually my story. So the story's finally done. We can get to the questions now. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. We've got 10 questions. If any of you guys have anything like that in your life, so let me know. So let's get started on the questions. What do you think Anya saw in the yard during the storm? For me, even though my name is in this story, but to think of this story about this woman thinking that she saw something in the window, like on the landing, I think she saw a ghost of a man who died years before she was even born. So, If it was me, I would want to investigate this shit. I would go deeper, like a lot deeper. So, like, say, if we had any weird rainstorms or something like windstorms or whatever, thunderstorms, if I saw something, I know what I saw. I would tell my husband, he would believe me. I would try everything to convince everyone what I saw and what I've heard. I may be like, if I have been laughed at, mocked, pointed at, but I still know what I saw. I would not be like, go to psychiatric hospital and like take medication for some shit. And they like say it's not true. It's just a hoax. But if this woman saw something, people should believe her. I mean, if it was me, I would seriously investigate this, dig deeper, see what's going on. If it was the house that I would have lived in, I would literally try to figure it out. And my husband, literally, he actually would help me figure it out. Everything, background checks on the house, why it's haunted. I would literally want to figure it out. Why I'm seeing something that I'm not supposed to be seeing. Perhaps maybe this woman was chosen for this kind of thing, but perhaps maybe she is psychic and somehow she was chosen to help the spirit, but even though she has no idea how to help this ghost. Maybe he was asking for help. Maybe he was lost, or maybe he doesn't know he's dead. So if I were that person, I would literally try to help this spirit move on with the afterlife. Okay, so let's go with number 2. Why do you think the adults dismissed her fear so quickly? Maybe it's because they're too afraid to admit it, what's going on in the house or outside, like in a backyard. They're just too afraid. They don't want to put this woman in danger. Like when she was a child, she saw something that she wasn't supposed to, but somehow they're just too scared to tell her the truth. That's why they lied. They didn't see a thing. They don't know how to protect her somehow. That is the reason why. So, I mean, if I were still a child and I would tell my parents what I saw, if they dismissed it, which means they're too afraid. Like literally, but as a matter of fact, actually, it's kind of reminds me of my mom. She's afraid to admit it, but she was just trying to protect me somehow. But that is the reason why she is very skeptical and scared to death at the same time. Because she lost my granddad when I wasn't even born yet, so. But I know why, so. It happens all the time. Anyway, let's go to number 3. We have 7 questions left before I sign off. What would have frightened you more than the figure outside or the scratches on the grass? Anything can frighten me. Demonic stuff. Fear of like losing anything, your soul or whatever. Afraid that you might not know what you have summoned. Like literally. People are always afraid what they might do. They're afraid that it can't be undone if you did something. I mean, if I were afraid of something, I would literally afraid of losing something like that matters to me the most. Anyway, my fear is losing my family, my husband, my little kitty, and a home that he and I have prepared for all three of us. And it literally would frighten me the most. Just losing everything I love and who I love. Let's go to number 4. Do you believe certain places can hold fear from past events? Probably yes. Shit can happen. I do believe that certain places can literally can like pull you towards it. Like, say you're having a dream of a place that you have never been in entire of your adult life or when you were a child. I believe that I have a lot of weird dreams that places that I've never been to. When I was a little girl, I had a lot of weird dreams, and I somehow, maybe of my past, that, like, say I was in London or something like that in my past life, and when I wake up, I still don't know why I have it. I've never even been to London, even though my past life actually have been. But I'm willing to go to London and find out, or something like that. Have some ghost stuff, and to see if my past life is from London. Perhaps. I do believe things can actually happen, yes. Let's go to number 5. We have 5 questions left before I sign off. My husband doesn't get off work until 4:30. It actually is about 3:51. So yes. Anyway, we're almost done here. So let's continue on. Why do you think the man in the yard was always connected to the upstairs window? Perhaps maybe he passed away in that landing of the house. Maybe somehow he got trapped after he died and doesn't realize it, what's going on. Maybe he was on trance, like under a spell. I think this man is probably doesn't know that he died. And maybe the thunderstorm somehow struck him and died just like that. And doesn't know what's going on. Doesn't remember after being struck by lightning or something. He doesn't know he's dead, but somehow he looked through the window. Somehow maybe his memories are coming back. That's why he's connected to that window. Maybe he died on the 2nd floor. So either he had a heart attack or got struck by lightning. I probably would want to find out a lot more. Investigate where the coldest spot or hottest spot in the house, like where spirits are. I would continue investigating it until I get the answers and a lot of evidence. Like, literally. Let's go to number 6. Would you have gone back years later to face that fear? Yes, I would. Literally, I wanted to face the fear. I mean, I've got a lot of fears, and I'm afraid to face them because that's just how I am. I don't know why. See, I'm afraid of heights, and I'm trying my best to face my fears, trying to be brave enough. But if I were that woman who has this story here that I was just reading about, if I had her life, I would literally want to face the damn fear about it. I want to be brave enough to face it. I would try very hard to face it. I actually would. Yes, I would. Let me ask you guys, would you face it? Let me know in the comments down below right here on YouTube. What do you make of the scratches appearing at the eye level? Well, it's probably because maybe you've been scratching yourself, or the scratches appearing at the eye level is like, what if you like fell asleep and something accidentally scratched you? What if you had a cat with you and accidentally scratched you, and even though you haven't let any animal sleep near you, like literally, or anything sharp, but if there's a ghost in a house and you're being scratched everywhere, especially under your eye, like right here, yeah, you're being scratched by something that you cannot see. I think it's something demonic. And I make of it claws of a ghost, like a demonic thing. So I would literally investigate it. I would try everything I can to get rid of that evil thing. I would try not to mock it, but I would literally try to get rid of it somehow. I would get professionals to help out, literally, and take back the control of the house and everything. But scratches, they can heal. Don't mess with the demonic thing. Let the professionals help you with that. I literally would see like being clawed by something demonic. I would just try and figure out how this happened. It's probably demons, spirits of former people. I probably would try and figure it out what really happened. Let's go to number 8. Why do families sometimes avoid telling the full truth about a house? The reason why they avoid this kind of stuff is because they're too afraid. Because they don't want to scare their children around. Because if they hear all that, they become too scared, too afraid to go to sleep. And they're afraid that something will come after them. That is why the adults are always avoid these kind of things. They're just too scared. They don't know how to protect themselves, and they don't know how to deal with it. They're still processing all that shit going around in their house. They're just avoiding of being taken away or something. I don't know. They're just afraid what comes out. Like, what afraid? They're afraid of everything. That's why they don't admit things. Let's go to number 9. We're almost done here. Is it possible that childhood instincts notice things adults ignore? Yes, it is. It's possible. So, let's say if my mom knew what was going to happen in our house, she would literally try to protect me, but she always admits that, well, she lied probably, or she would have. She would like say that she doesn't know what's going on, even though she does, but she's just trying to protect me. She was trying to hide the truth about it and make sure I wouldn't find out. And yet she's very skeptical about it. She's just trying to protect me no matter what. But, things happen all the time. Adults are just too scared. They don't know how to deal with it. They don't know how to protect themselves. Children on the other hand, are more danger than adults. Like, literally. I mean, if I were a child, I would try and figure out what really happened in the house in the past. Well, anyway, one more question before I sign off. What would you have done after seeing the figure in the window reflection? I would investigate this. Literally, I actually would. I would call professionals. I would not run away. I would just actually investigate it. Literally. Anyway, okay, so that's all we have for today. Tomorrow I'll be doing a new episode, so that's all the time we've got. Tomorrow's episode will be doing the bedroom that borrowed dreams. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great night. Stay safe. Stay spooky. And please click like, share, and subscribe. And just have fun. All right? I love you guys. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. Bye.